Camp is camp. It's tough, but it's for me to want to push myself. This is what I do, this is what I live for. I'm ready for battle. I feel like I'm getting stronger, and I feel by the time the fight comes, I'll be at peak performance.
One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take that.
It's unbelievable how far and how wide sports can take you and the things that you get access to.
Anthony Joshua has officially kicked off his first day of training camp ahead of his showdown with Jake Paul on December 19th. With the fight now confirmed, Joshua is wasting no time sharpening his skills, entering camp with laser focus and the confidence of a former heavyweight champion. Meanwhile, Jake Paul, despite his controversial rise from YouTube star to professional boxer, continues to draw massive attention. But this time, he's stepping in against a seasoned powerhouse with true world-class experience.
Second leg of the training camp. I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling refreshed. So yeah, come inside, have a look what's going on. Tough training, tough lifestyle, rough and tough. But listen, how else would I want it? I love it. So what am I bringing differently? I won't say a new mindset, but definitely like a new perspective. But ultimately, everything new has to lead to a win. So yeah, that's what I'm focused on right now, just winning. With training camp, it's grueling, right? There's no doubt about that. But you just need to have a clear mind and be optimistic and run towards challenges every day. And that's how I'm able to get through, is just the perspective I have on what suffering looks like. There's a certain standard that one has to have if they want to achieve certain things. I am working past effort measures that I set out for myself. Yes, it's tough. Yes, I'm tired.
Mike Coa reported that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight is officially set for December 2025 in Miami, streaming on Netflix as a sanctioned professional heavyweight bout.
I mentioned earlier that Anthony Joshua still didn't have an opponent for his next fight, but he was thinking of still fighting before the end of the year. And we've got some breaking news for you now, because we're hearing that AJ is in talks with Jake Paul over a deal for a heavyweight fight in Miami next month. Of course, the YouTuber Paul has already fought the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, and beaten him. And he's now in talks with Anthony Joshua with a view to the two of them fighting in Miami.
Eddie Hearn pushed back on those claims, but confirmed the fight, clarifying it will be held under full Queensberry rules rather than as an exhibition. He ruled out any modified conditions such as bigger gloves or shorter rounds, insisting the bout will use 10-ounce competition gloves, standard rounds, and the official professional boxing framework.
Ring Magazine, Anthony Joshua, your man, and Jake Paul are finalizing a deal for a December heavyweight fight in Florida. True or false?
I mean, the gun was jumped a little bit and fired early. There have been conversations. For us, we were flirting with the idea of having this little 8-round fight this year. Not with Jake Paul, by the way, because he was fighting Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, that's not.
But we were going to go on a other card somewhere. You wouldn't have really heard of the person we were going to fight. But AJ wanted to go through the motions, wrap the hands, and just gear up to what is really in the works with Turki Al-Sheikh, which is 2 fights in 2026, and that includes Tyson Fury. That's the plan for Turki Al-Sheikh. We received a phone call from Nikisa Baldirian, from MVP, who, by the way, we've spoke to a few months before talking to us about the fight. And he said, look, would you want to fight Jake Paul? And I said, listen, I don't want to just be a publicity muppet for you, you know, telling everybody that you offered the fight to Anthony Joshua. If you're serious, we can discuss the numbers. And if there's a chance for us to run out in December and, you know, take care of this bloke and get him out of the boxing world and make several tens of millions in the process, of course, we will consider it. And that's basically where we are at now.
And do the numbers stack up?
Of course, I mean, like, you know, it's difficult to have this conversation. I think sometimes you just...
He told Sky Sports they have no interest in exhibitions. If Jake Paul wants to fight, it will be a real bout at a contracted weight. However, Hearn also warned the deal isn't finalized, calling the chances 50-50, and noting there are still many conversations and details to work through.
Extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got... The general feedback is the boxing world saying, please AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight, but I truly believe you're going to...
Hearn said Jake Paul is crazy enough to chase the fight despite Joshua being a true heavyweight monster, noting the massive payday on the table for both men. Still, he stressed the brutal danger of such a matchup, warning that pitting an inexperienced Paul against a seasoned AJ is a catastrophic mismatch that could end Paul's career, literally or figuratively.
50 fight, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But, as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world...
However, Hearn acknowledged Paul's strategy of targeting pro boxers who can deliver massive paydays.
Yeah, but quickly, I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in, he just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight, but they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah.
Simon Jordan has admitted that, despite his criticisms, the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight could benefit boxing in several ways. He acknowledges that the matchup will draw massive global attention, attract millions of new viewers, and create significant financial opportunities. Jordan notes that boxing is also a business, and pairing a former heavyweight champion with one of the world's biggest digital entertainers guarantees major money, media coverage, and mainstream interest. He believes the spectacle will capture casual fans, generate constant headlines, and fuel debates that help keep the sport relevant. Although he still questions the fight's competitive legitimacy, Jordan recognizes that commercially and financially, this event has the potential to be a huge win for boxing.
This is the entertainment business, and Anthony Joshua is an entertainer, and you can't undo the fact that he won the World Heavyweight Championship twice, and he fought in some great fights.
So why does he need this?
Because he's in the business of entertainment, and if an opportunity is presented to him, and someone wants to say that we can monetize this to the huge levels that are potentially available, why wouldn't you? It's a walk in the park.
You see, you're not having Saturday night.
Because
many people wouldn't have this.
Well, I'm not having.
Because this isn't a proper fight where a Saturday night is.
But I don't think this is a proper. I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And would I watch it? No. And do I value it? No. But when I'm asked to be confronted with a fight between two legends' sons and then get involved in all of the nonsense.
Simon Jordan also criticized the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight, arguing promotion relied more on nostalgia than true sporting merit. He said the matchup was being sold on the legacy of their fathers' iconic 1990s rivalry, rather than on what Benn and Eubank Jr. had achieved themselves. Jordan accused promoters of exploiting history to distract from the fact that the fight lacked competitive logic, especially with Ben moving up in weight and Eubank Jr. dangerously cutting down. He compared that situation to Joshua versus Paul, calling it an obvious cash grab rather than a serious sporting contest, a mismatch between a former heavyweight champion and a social media star that, in his view, undermines boxing's integrity. Jordan questioned whether a bout like this should even be sanctioned, expressing concern over Paul's safety and warning that Joshua risks damaging his long-term legacy by taking such a fight.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. It's not a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there, but Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face to face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3, because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora.
Do you think Jake Paul genuinely stands a chance against Anthony Joshua? Is this matchup good for boxing or just a complete spectacle? Share your thoughts in the comments below.